Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to unlock a really profound idea that, believe it or not, hinges on one tiny, often overlooked word. It's a concept right from the scriptures that promises to completely reframe how you see your own internal struggles, and maybe even show a path to real life and peace. So, let's dive right in.
You ever feel that frustrating internal battle? You know exactly what the right thing to do is. You actually want to do it, but for some reason you just don't. You feel stuck. It's like a civil war is raging inside your own head. Well, it's a feeling almost everyone on the planet can relate to. And as it turns out, there's a very specific biblical reason for it. The Apostle Paul absolutely nailed this feeling almost 2,000 years ago. And listen to how precise he is. He doesn't just say, in me, he immediately clarifies, that is, in my flesh. He pinpoints the exact location of this internal conflict. And when he says flesh, he's not just talking about our skin and bones. He's talking about a whole state of being, an operating system that just feels fundamentally broken. So let's dig into what the source texts call this state. Because it's not just, a bad mood or a moment of weak willpower. It's described as something much deeper, a governing principle called the mind of flesh, a system that runs on what it calls the law of death. Yet, according to Romans chapter 8, this mind of the flesh isn't neutral. It's not just sitting on the sidelines. It's described as being actively hostile toward God. It literally can't submit to God's law, and frankly, it doesn't want to. The source describes this as a mind that is set on death, a thought process whose inevitable conclusion is separation and decay. And this chart really lays out just how serious the situation is. When someone is operating in the flesh, their default mindset leads to death. Their relationship with God is defined by hostility. And their ability to please God, it's not just hard, it's impossible. It's a spiritual prison, a closed loop with no apparent way out. But for this seemingly unbreakable lock, this spiritual prison we've been talking about, the Bible presents a remarkably precise key. And it's not some grand, complicated philosophy. It's a single, vital detail that changes absolutely everything. Let's see what it is. This is it. That's the key. And all the power is in that one little preposition, in. Not as flesh, not like flesh, but in the flesh. The entire solution to that prison of death we just described, well, it all comes down to understanding the massive significance of Jesus showing up inside our human condition. And trust me, this is not just about grammar. The book of 1 John actually uses this as the ultimate litmus test. The way you can tell the Spirit of God from a false spirit comes down to one simple question. Do you, or do you not, acknowledge that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh? It's presented as the absolute center, a non-negotiable truth. And here's the heart of that mystery. True, powerful, spiritual life wasn't just demonstrated from some safe distance. No, it was made real. It was manifested within the very domain that was hostile to God. He had to enter enemy territory to win the war. Okay, so if Jesus coming in the flesh is the key, how does that actually unlock the prison? How does it conquer a system that's completely governed by death? Well, the answer is kind of brilliant. It was an inside job. Romans 8, verse 3, lays out the whole strategy. God sent his son into the very same environment where sin was king, in the likeness of sinful flesh. And why? So he could condemn sin not from the outside, but from the inside, in the flesh. You see, he had to get inside the prison to break it open from within. So what this means is, death couldn't be beaten by some external attack. Its power had to be dismantled at the source. By entering our human condition, that state of the flesh, Jesus brought a life so powerful, so absolute, that it could literally swallow death from the inside out. And this is the victory lap. This is the triumphant result. The enemy hasn't just been pushed back. It's been consumed, swallowed whole. The power of death, which came from sin, has been completely disarmed. And that is the victory that was won in the flesh. So this incredible victory brings about a totally new reality. It's a fundamental shift from one governing principle to another. Because that old law of death has been shattered, a new law can finally take its place. The best way to think about this is like a new operating system for your soul. The law of the Spirit of life isn't a new set of rules you have to follow. No, it's a force, a principle of life that is now at work inside you, actively setting you free from that old default programming of sin and death. Just look at this total reversal.
Remember that old condition of being in the flesh, hostile, impossible, leading to death? Well, now, in Christ, there is total freedom. That hostile mindset is replaced by the mind of the Spirit. And the outcome? It's not death anymore. It's life and peace. It's a complete and total transformation of your entire state of being.
This verse just confirms it all. The freedom is a done deal. It's not something you have to work for or earn. It's a new reality you can step into and live in because of what Christ did. The law that held you captive has been overwritten by a much greater law, the law of life itself.
And this really brings us full circle, doesn't it? The very same place where the problem lived, our flesh, our mind that was set on death, that is the exact same place where the solution was won. God didn't have to destroy the battleground. He conquered it and turned it into the site of his greatest victory. So, this leaves us with a really personal question to think about. We've seen two completely opposite principles, the mind of the flesh leading to death, and the mind of the spirit leading to life and peace. The incredible insight here is that a new reality is available to us. So the question for you and me is, which law are we living under today? The choice and the freedom is ours.